Which part you want me to revise, Amna?
Like this internal structure.
Okay, internal structure. Right, eye contains 3 layers. Outer one is a sclera. Sclera, it's white, which is visible as an eyeball. We can see even in our eyes that in the center there is lens, and at side there is eyeball, which is white. This white is the sclera, or the outermost layer of the eye. Its purpose is to protect our eye. Right, then inner to sclera, or at the front, what happens? The sclera forms a transparent layer where we can see our lens black. This forms a transparent layer, and the purpose is to transmit the light, right? So it is transparent. Then the second layer is choroid, which is inner to sclera, and it is pigmented. Pigmented means it can be green, gray, blue, black, any brown, like which we see in different people, that they have the colored eyes, and these are because of this choroid. Secondly, it contains the blood vessels, and blood vessels have oxygen and nutrients which are provided to the eye cells, or which nourish the eye cells as they are living cells, so they respire and they need oxygen, and they also need nutrients as they are growing. At the front, what happens? This choroid forms or bends to form the iris. These are the iris, right? And iris results in the formation of a hole in the center, which is called as the pupil. Pupil also helps in transmitting the light to the lens. Right, and then at the back of the iris, this choroid layer forms a ciliary body. Right, this is the swollen part. Ciliary body contains the ciliary muscles, and the ciliary muscles are attached to the lens through suspensory ligaments. Suspensory ligaments are the connective tissues which connect lens to the ciliary muscles or ciliary body. Right, inner to the choroid is the third layer, which is the retina. Retina contains photosensitive cells, which are the rods and the cones. Rods are sensitive to dim light, and cones are sensitive to bright light. Clear? And we also studied that there are 2 rectus muscles, right? Rectus muscles help in attaching the eye to the socket or the eyeball. Socket or hollow part in the skull, which is known as the socket. It is attached to the socket with the help of the rectus muscle, right? And because of this attachment, eye can show limited movements only to some degree. They can rotate little bit left, little bit right. They cannot be rotated all around, or they cannot be rotated at 3 degrees centigrade. Clear? Then in the iris, there are 2 types of muscles present. One are the circular muscles, and other are the radial muscles. These circular and radial muscles, they control the diameter of the pupil, which is important for the transmission of the light, right? Which is important to control the amount of light entering into the eye. Right, there are the radial muscles, which are just along the radius of the pupil iris, right? The radial muscles, when the radial muscles contract, what happens? When the radial muscles contract, circular muscles relax, and the diameter of the pupil increases, right? When the radial muscles relax, circular muscles contract, and the pupil size decreases. It becomes smaller, right, to allow less amount of light to enter into the eye. Clear? And this diameter of the pupil decreases in bright light, so that the less light should enter into the eye, and it also prevents from damaging the eye. And in bright light, this happens, or the radial muscles contract, or the diameter of the pupil increases, so that the more light should enter into the eye. Right, then there are ciliary muscles. Lens is actually elastic. It is biconvex, and it is suspended in the eye by the help of the suspensory ligaments. And then what else? Rods and cones. Rods are sensitive to dim light. Right, in the presence of in the dim light, what happens? They synthesize a pigment, which is the rhodopsin, and this rhodopsin is synthesized in the dim light, but it also needs vitamin A for its synthesis. And if there is deficiency of any of these components, like vitamin A, or if there is any defect in rods, it can lead to the night blindness. Then in bright light, what happens? Rhodopsin, or the visual purple, is bleached, and when we enter into the dark, first this is synthesized, and it takes few seconds. Once it is synthesized, we are able to see the things in the dark. Then other set of the cells are the cones. Cones are the photosensitive cells, right? These are sensitive to bright light and color vision. There are the 3 cones. Each one is sensitive to one of the 3 primary colors, blue, green and red, and if any one of these are missing, the person is unable to see that color or the colors which are formed by combining those. Right, on the eye we see exactly opposite to the lens there is foeva present. Foeva only contains cones, right? Rods are absent. This was your incorrect in the worksheet. They contain only cone because the image has to be focused onto the foeva, and because of more cones the sharper image is formed. Then there is blind spot at the point from where the optic nerves enter or leave the eye. Blind spot is that point which lack photosensitive cells, rods and cones, right? And yes, rods and cones are absent there and no image is formed on the blind spot. The front part of the eye, which is between the cornea and the lens, it's known as the aqueous. This is known as the aqueous chamber, and the fluid present in it is the aqueous humor, which is transparent and allows light to pass through it. At the back of the lens and the retina there is vitreous chamber present, right? Vitreous chamber contains liquid which is known as the vitreous humor, and this vitreous humor is jelly-like which deflect the light rays exactly onto the foeva. Right, and this lens also helps in accommodation or focusing onto the retina so that the image should be clear, image should be formed. And how it helps on focusing onto the retina with the help of the ciliary muscles and the suspensory ligaments. You can take a picture if you want to take. Like when you are looking at the near object, or ciliary muscles contract and or suspensory ligaments are loosened or they are relaxed, and it widens the lens, and the more closer we are looking, the more wider is the lens, right? The maximum wider is the lens when we are looking the objects very close or maximum at a near distance to the eye. Then when we are looking at the far objects, the ciliary muscles relaxes and the suspensory ligaments tighten. This narrow or makes the lens thin. This increase or decrease in the diameter or curvature of the lens helps in focusing the light exactly onto the retina. Clear? Yes, we have almost completed. Right, antagonistic which do the opposite job, right? And then we also studied about the myopia and the hypermetropia or hypermyopia. Myopia is a nearsightedness, right, in which the people have difficulty in seeing the objects that are far away. An image, in this case the image is formed in front of the retina. Here you can see, right, it's formed in front of the retina. It is not exactly onto the retina. So to make the image focused onto the retina, what do? We use the concave lens, or it is rectified by the concave lens. Hypermetropia is the opposite, or it's the farsightedness. We cannot see the near objects, right? And in this case the image is formed behind the retina, right? And it is rectified by the convex lens and forms the image onto the retina. Clear? Then there is also another important antagonistic muscles. You already know antagonistic muscles do opposite job, right? If one muscle is contracting, the other will be relaxing. Clear? Yes, I think I have revised. Yes. Okay. Yes, we have discussed everything. Okay, take a breath for 2 minutes and then let's discuss the worksheet. Is there any problem in excretion? Excretion, hormones. Did you learn the hormones?
No.
Did you learn the hormones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Which one is being played? Wait, just give me 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, now let's discuss. Do you want me to? Okay, let's discuss only incorrect options of paper 1. Oh no,